Do you have one or two maybe practical sort of embodiment practices
Mm-hmm.
you could guide us through or give us some sort of step by steps when
Yeah.
we want to turn and listen to our bodies? What are
Mm-hmm.
some just short, maybe I'm thinking one or two exercises that you maybe lead a client through or that you recommend
Mm-hmm.
to reconnect and begin to listen to the messages our bodies are sending us?
Do you want to do one together right now?
Please, yes.
Okay, so let's take a moment. If anybody is listening to this later on, if you want to follow along as well too,
Yeah.
please participate as much or as little as feels safe enough and comfortable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We only go where the body gives full consent. And this is
Mm.
really important, especially when we're in our healing journeys, is we all want to get there. We all want to arrive. And so often we will push past when our body gives us that communication of like, actually, I'm not ready to look at this thing yet. And we tend to re-traumatize ourselves because we go too fast or too much or too soon. So as even in this moment,
Yeah.
as we do this together and we ground ourselves and reconnect back to our bodies, go where your body gives full consent. So scan your room. This is really important before we ever go internally into the body. Scan your room. This helps you re-ground yourself in space and time, in place. Also a really helpful trick when you do feel overwhelmed, or if we go back to our bodies, because like, hey, look, here's the reality. So many of us have disconnected for very legitimate reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Our body has been a hard place for us to live. It's been maybe a traumatic or painful place to live. And so we leave our bodies in order to not feel the depth of the pain that exists there.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is that while that is really helpful and life-saving in the moment, we don't want to stay disconnected. We want to be able to come back home. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if at any point you're doing body-based work and it feels too overwhelming and it feels like it's going to put you into that panic or fight, flight, fear, fawn, look behind each shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Look over your left shoulder at the far back left corner of your room.
Okay.
Look over your right shoulder at your far back corner of your right room.
Okay.
This is a very simple, very, again, primal practice that if we are running and we have a threat of danger behind us, we're looking over our shoulder to see where the danger is.
Yeah.
So when you do this in the safety of your room, your office, your car, wherever you're listening to this from, or wherever you feel like you're in a panic, simply do that. It signals safety to your nervous system when you look back and you're like, oh, I'm just in my office cubicle at work. I'm in no danger. I know my body is going into fight or flight, and I feel worried because my coworker is going to come and pick a fight, or my partner or my friend or somebody at the grocery store. And I actually look around and I go, no, I can ground myself in place and time and I'm okay.
Okay. That's great.
Okay. So there's a really practical somatic skill for you to use. A lot of these things are actually not super complicated, but we just never learned them.
Right.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that feels good, let's now take a minute. Let's go into your body and let's actually practice. Let me show you what it looks like to begin to listen.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we're grounded in our space, in our room, you can go internally into your body, drop out of your head and into your body, whatever feels good and safe enough for you. If it feels good to close your eyes, go ahead and do that. If it feels good to softly, gently rest your gaze somewhere in front of you, then please do that. Notice your breathing. If it feels good, notice your breathing, if that feels safe enough. As you breathe, are you noticing short, shallow breaths that exist up in your chest? Are you able to deepen each breath? Drop lower, drop from your chest to your rib cage. Can you drop lower into your belly? Deep breath in, release. So many of us feel so disconnected even from our bellies. We've had so many messages from our bellies. We feel like we have to suck in, shrink in, make ourselves smaller. And that has detrimental health effects as well too. But what is it telling us? Even on an emotional level, on a physical safety level. So allow that to release. Releasing your belly signals safety to your nervous system. What does that feel like? As you go through this process, notice anywhere that you're finding an emotion come to the surface, sensation come to the surface. Maybe you're sensing or feeling or seeing colors. Maybe you're sensing cold, hot, prickly, buzzy, warm, soothing. It could be any of these sensations. See if you can notice. And also remember that numbness is a sensation too. Lack of sensation is also sensation. And if we've been disconnected for a long time, that lack of sensation might be our baseline at the moment. But the more that we practice coming back, the more that our body will feel safe enough to start to speak. Look at whatever your body is giving you, just with neutral curiosity.
Can I share in the moment what was sort of coming up? Okay.
Was something coming up for you?
When I was able to sort of deepen my breath into